Hello everyone, Sir Owen Disney here, and we're going to talk Monday Night Raw, and of course we're 2 weeks away from SummerSlam, which of course is the WrestleMania of the summer, and I will say right now that right at this very moment, the card is shaping up to be a whole lot better than the SummerSlam card. A couple more matches need to be added, and we'll be just fine. Once we get a few matches added, like Antonio Cesaro added to the card and Fandango added to the card, I'm pretty sure this SummerSlam is going to be pretty epic, to be totally honest. So, we'll get to that when we get there. So, first off, a little housekeeping, as we usually do here, and the Crystal Light drinking game is returned. Alright. Oh yeah. Usually I throw this little added info into my housekeeping, and sometimes I throw in little messages to AJ, in case AJ watches the beginning of the videos, because I know he watches the beginning of the videos to see if there's anything important before I start talking wrestling, and then of course he tunes out. But I wanted to start this video off with some interesting information I just got 5 minutes ago. Probably less than that. 5 minutes ago, basically the fact because I just went out and got the not quite frozen, ice cold Crystal Light lemonade so I could do the Crystal Light drinking game. Reason why is because when I do shows like this that are 3 pages long and then some, I tend to get a little dry throat problem. So I thought I'd bring out the Crystal Light in order to drink. But then again, when you chug a Crystal Light that is somewhat icy, it's rather cold on the throat and on the lips. So, AJ news right away. This has to do with this coming weekend and the rest of this week. So I'm going to throw this out right now. Little movie news for everyone. And of course, this doesn't pertain to anybody else unless you're in this listing area. So if you're in around where I am, if you know me personally, if you know of me personally, then you're probably quite close to what the information is I'm about to give. Now, I've been saying recently that there was a movie that's going to be coming out probably before the end of the month. Well, I've been proven not to be a liar. And it's funny because I had a couple of customers come up to me the other day when I was tearing tickets, or standing at the tear stand, depending on how whatever you want to say. It's the same thing, really. When I was checking tickets, there you go. It's not tearing tickets, it's checking tickets. It's tearing kiosk tickets. Anyway, what happened was they asked me about this movie. And of course, I know my stuff. Thanks to AJ, I know my stuff. And when it comes down to it, I knew what they were talking about. And probably the only one there that actually knew of the movie that they were talking about. And the movie they're referring to is Fruitvale, or now called Fruitvale Station. Fruitvale Station, basically it was a huge hit on the festival circuits. I don't remember if it went to Sundance or TIFF or both. I do know for a fact that it has got a lot of Oscar buzz. I know, granted, this is only August, but it's got a lot of Oscar buzz for Michael B. Jordan and Octavia Spencer. So there's a possibility of them getting nominated, and I was wondering if any day now we would get Fruitvale Station. As of this Friday, we have Fruitvale Station. AJ will be happy to know, and I'm happy to inform, that Fruitvale Station is coming to Athena Grand on Friday, as well as holding over the Way Back. And of course, Athena Cinema is opening Crystal Ferry. So, wow, long day. AJ also watched The Canyons and Byzantium and a couple of other limited release movies. So, what I might think we might do this week, I have to talk to AJ and make sure everything works out. But as long as we get to watch all this stuff, I mean, granted, we got 2 movies today. We're going to be watching both Percy Jackson and We're the Millers today, and Thursday night we're going to be watching Planes and Elysium, and it looks really much like a guarantee that either Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Tuesday we will be watching movies at the Athena, probably Sunday, which would be the way, way back Fruitvale Station, and then going to the cinema and watching Crystal Fairy. Now, I'm not sure if they're getting anything else to go with Crystal Fairy. I do notice that the Bling Ring just got it available, so I'm pretty sure AJ probably watched that too. When he doesn't call or, like, acknowledge anybody's existence, he's probably either sleeping or watching movies, or sleepily watching movies, depending on how you look at it. So needless to say, I'm sure that we're going to have a plethora, El Guapo, of movies to review this week. So much so that I actually am going to throw something out right now. I need to talk to AJ to see if we can do this. Okay. Last week's review had 6 movies on it. And technically 8 if you want to count the mini reviews at the beginning that I didn't even talk about in the video. So, if this works out, as of this moment, AJ has seen Byzantium, AJ has seen The Bling Ring, AJ has seen a couple other limited release movies I don't recall the names of off the top of my head right now. And together, both of us will have seen Planes, so this is the 3rd movie, Elysium, that's 4, Percy Jackson, that's 5, and on top of that, we're the Millers, that's 6. Fruitvale Station in the way, way back, that's 7 and 8, and Crystal Fairy, that's 9, and of course, given the fact that most of the movies are leaving Athena Cinema on Friday, I would say that it is a very good possibility we will have 10, 11, or 12 movies to review this week. Now, in the case that happens, I need to talk to AJ about this. This thing about getting movies done on Thursday is really helping out considerably, because that means Friday we can basically just come here, shoot the videos, and have the rest of the day to ourselves. Now, we've got, if this does happen, I'm going to say right now, I need to talk to AJ about this, not like I can call him up right now, because obviously it's too early, so I can't really call him up right now and tell him, but I do want to say that if this happens, and we get that many movies, up to 12 possible movies on this week's review, I'm going to have at least 2 videos of AJ's movie reviews this week, and they will be both Friday and Saturday. Now, that's what I'm looking at right now, or another day. Either way, it's going to be multiple days of AJ's movie reviews. We're going to watch the movies, and then put those on one video, and put the other movies on the other video. So you can check all of those reviews out, including the Versus this week, which is going to be quite interesting. And I don't have a cryptic comment for it yet, but I promise you I will have a cryptic comment for Thursday's Impact recap like I told you guys I would. So basically what I'm going to do is this. I have both of those videos, at least 2, hopefully just 2, maybe 6 on each video, maybe. These are like hour and 45-minute videos that just talk about 6 movies. So, 2 videos, then there's Versus on Sunday still, and then Saturday is Summer of Tarantino, which we get to talk about Death Proof, part of Grindhouse. So that's going to be really good. And of course we'll talk about Planet Terror, and we'll talk about the fake trailers as well. Like, obviously Don't, and Machete, and all the other really awesome movie trailers, fake movie trailers on Grindhouse. So that's what we're going to do. So I need to talk to AJ to make sure it's okay, but it looks to me like we're going to be spending a lot of time watching movies in the next several days. Like I said, 4 movies at Regal this week, at least 3 movies in Athens this week, if not 4 or 5, depending on what they get. And AJ's got limited release movies that he's been able to watch that I haven't yet. I watched Hell Baby the other day, actually, and that's coming out in a couple weeks, so we can talk about that soon. And I did go through and watch Disconnect. Disconnect is amazing. Just as what AJ said, it's a movie you have to watch. It's not like I'm telling you need to watch it because it's good. I'm telling you it is great, but I'm telling you need to watch it because it's very important that you watch it. It's far too often that people just get way too wrapped up in their technology. And I guess in some cases, thankfully they do, or we would know each other, most likely. But when it boils down to this, I mean, people get way too wrapped up in their technology. They don't realize what's right in front of them. So yeah, this movie is very powerful. So check it out, Disconnect, if you get a chance to watch it. Like I said, I think it's on VOD. I think it's what AJ said. The DVD comes out very soon if it's not already out. So check it out. Ten minutes in, I'm talking about movies. I still got one more piece of information. Universal Hollywood, congratulations. Congratulations, because this year you have yet another property that was just announced for Halloween Horror Nights in Hollywood. And it is a Hollywood-only property, and it's going to be Black Sabbath 13 in 3D. So, Ozzy and the boys of Black Sabbath are getting together to create a 3D master maze for Halloween Horror Nights. And it's really awesome. And of course, there's some rumors about Halloween Horror Nights in Hollywood. They're getting Insidious and Trick or Treat. I mean, those are the things that are supposed to come out very soon. We're supposed to find out about those very soon. So that we look forward to that for Hollywood. I will be shooting Halloween Horror Nights information very soon. I think we're on the cusp of getting the information of the reveals of La Llorona and Resident Evil. So I'm pretty sure we'll get those in the next couple days. Actually, Mike Aiello said on Twitter that it would probably be in the next few days we're going to be getting another maze announcement. So that's going to be awesome. And I will talk about that, talk about Legendary Truth a little bit more. But that's going to be later in the week. Full disclosure, Ben was supposed to join us tonight, and he wasn't able to, and it's back to school time. So hopefully he'll be able to join us next Monday night for Raw. And Will was supposed to join us, and I don't really know what happened to him. He didn't even call or text or anything, so hopefully everything's okay. And we'll get Will here for another World tutorial in the next few days, hopefully. If not, Monday, for sure. So he wants to talk a little bit about the multiplayer modes for Batman Arkham Origins. And Ben has some stuff to discuss about vinyl and its impact and resurgence and the death of vinyl and the resurgence of vinyl. It's going to be really interesting to hear. It's going to be a nice video. So, look forward to that. So, I am, it's August 4th, or it was August 4th, I mean, yesterday was August 4th, and August 4th was the day I was going to call at 8 o'clock in the morning, get on dbcmember.com, and then, you know what, I was going to get my ass into the Grand Floridian. You know what happened? There's no reservations. So, I want to throw a thank you, a huge, huge thank you to someone who I don't really even know, someone I met online, actually, and I've never seen face-to-face, and who knows if I'll ever see her face-to-face. And her name is Judith Hatch, or Judy Hatch, depending on how you look at it, and I hope she doesn't mind me mentioning her name here. Judy is the reason why I'm getting to live my dream and stay at the Grand Floridian on December 4th, so I can't wait. So, I hear the Mickey mail, the latest Mickey Monitor mail, has my precious annual pass holder magnet that I've been waiting for that's inside. So, I'm hopefully going to get that soon. And, yeah, look what I got in the mail the other day. It is official, and I will show you guys. I'm going to fade the name here, of course. Yeah, look at that. My first ever DVC stay at Jumbo House at the Animal Kingdom Lodge Villas. It's gonna be amazing! And we are 45 days, well no, 44 days away now. Sorry, forgot that the day has passed. So 44 days away now, and I'll be home again. It's gonna be amazing. So, almost 15 minutes in. Oh, and you haven't talked wrestling yet. Well, you know what, I'm going to. Oh, I'm gonna do that right now. Alright, this Raw was a mixed bag, to say the least. And, like, the last few weeks I've been writing everything in, like, 2 pages, front to back. So, 4 pages, technically. And these little notebook pages I've got, I mean, it's just like, I'll show you what I use, if you're curious. This little Office Max notepad, like this legal notepad here. I probably should run on something bigger, but it's a lot easier to, like, hide this. The notes I'm reading here for you, there's, like I said, there's almost 6 pages here of notes from this week's Raw. So, yeah, let's talk about it. So, Stephanie McMahon comes out and she is going to introduce the new and improved corporate Daniel Bryan. So we get a video montage. Daniel Bryan, and he's getting a mani and a pedi, and he's lifting weights to get strong and look cut and jacked like John Cena, of course. And he's walking into Texas Roadhouse, and he's getting a steak, and he's eating it. He's vegan, obviously, so, unless he was vegan, so I mean, that's a big deal. And they're measuring him for suits, and they are, like, wetting down his hair and trimming his hair, and he comes out, and he's wearing a suit, and it's a blue suit, and he's got, like, brown shoes, and he's got a tie on, and he comes out doing the yes, 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 like he always does, doing the finger point and everything, just like my shirt says, and yes, yes, and he runs down the ramp and does that, and he really does look like a motivational speaker. He basically has his hair wet, and it's up in a ponytail, but he still has that straggly ZZ Top beard. So, yeah, I used a Wayne's World reference there, so there. So, he looks like a legitimate motivational speaker at this point. Fans don't like this one bit. So Bryan gets on the mic and says, "Thank you, Stephanie." And, you know, the company doesn't want me, though. The company wants someone who's jacked, wears bright yellow t-shirts and cargo shorts, and sells a buttload of merchandise. Matter of fact, they just want John Cena. And as much as I do respect him, he doesn't think that I can defeat him. See, he's a superstar. He's in movies. He's on cereal boxes. I'm 5'8" with a scraggly beard. I'm from the middle of nowhere in Aberdeen, Washington. How can lowly me beat a superstar like John Cena? You know why? The fact remains, John Cena is an entertainer. Daniel Bryan is a wrestler. To paraphrase, John Cena pretty much hasn't paid his dues like Bryan has. Daniel Bryan loves wrestling. And if he were to be fired tomorrow, and that very well could happen, of course, alluding to the fact that he got fired when he choked Justin Roberts with his tie, something that I stole in my independent management career. So he got fired for that, so needless to say, that's what he was alluding to. Of course, that's an obviosity to anybody that's listening to this review, obviously, because if you turned on this review, you definitely know a lot about what happened with that. If he got fired tomorrow, he would be in every armory, every bingo hall, every place, working in front of 30 people if he had to, just to entertain the crowd, because he, first and foremost, is a professional wrestler. I don't know if Bryan Danielson would try to make an impact or not, but you gotta see where he's coming from. He'd probably go back to Ring of Honor. Obviously, that will never happen. So, that's just playing into what he was saying. So he goes, you know what? I'll wear this hair like this, and I'll do what they say for now. Because at SummerSlam, I'm going to do something that every man here wants to do, and no man has been able to do. And that is to make John Cena tap out. So Vince McMahon comes out, and of course he does his Vince walk like he always does. And he says, you know what, you're giving it the old college try, pal. I don't want either of you to be champion. So he makes fun of his height, and his size, look, calls him a troll. You know, the normal stuff that everybody does with Daniel Bryan. It's all old hat here. Kind of like saying John Cena can't wrestle, but we'll allude to that later on in the show. So Vince just says, you've done everything we wanted you to do, pal. The only thing you gotta do now is shave that beard. So they roll out a barber chair. And no, Brutus Beefcake is not the person that gets to be the barber tonight, even though that would have been hilarious. I think he was doing an independent show tonight, to be totally honest. I don't think he was even an option, but it would have been quite interesting to hear that old familiar tune come out, and Brutus come out with, of course, his nipples pierced for some odd reason, and his dyed blonde hair, and cut the beard of Daniel Bryan. No. It wasn't Brutus Beefcake that came out. Oh no, the person that came out to be the barber for this segment was Wade Barrett, who only really has 2 qualifications to make him deemed worthy to be the barber of Bryan's beard. Say that 3 times fast. Anyway, what he does is, of course, he keeps his beard nicely trimmed. And on top of that, apparently his dad or his grandfather, I think it was his father. His father used to be a barber, so I guess Barbasol runs through Barrett's veins. I guess we'll go with that. So, bare knuckle fighting and Barbasol run through my veins. Okay, sorry. Anyway, I thought it sounded good. So, basically, Bryan says, no, I'm not going to let you cut off my beard. Are you stupid? Are you crazy? Well, it's Vince McMahon. He could be possibly senile and crazy. But still, are you stupid? Are you crazy? The fans, of course, chanting, no. It's like, if they want you to be a champion, you'll do as I say, pal. He didn't say pal as much as I say it, but he says pal about as much as Hogan says brother. So, that's no lie. So Daniel Bryan reluctantly gets out of the ring. He sits down in the chair, and I totally announced Barrett as the barber early on, but that's okay. It's alright, no big deal. I read over what I was supposed to. So Bryan stops him from shaving the beard, and he goes, can you just leave this little spot right here? And he headbutts Barrett, and he does it again, and he tosses him into the chair, and he grabs the clippers, and he shaves half of Barrett's beard. And then he goes after him again, throws him back into the side of the chair. And then Vince is losing his everything in the middle of the ring. So he's losing his mind in the ring. He's like beside himself. And then Barrett gets tossed in the chair again. And Bryan shaves the other side of the beard. Just to even him out, of course. Just to be the nice guy he is. And basically, he tosses him over the barricade, and he leaves. The fans are going nuts for this. Say what you will, Daniel Bryan, I call him the MVP of WWE. That's no lie. It's not just a nice little funny nickname. Oh no, it's very true. Daniel Bryan is carrying the WWE on his shoulders right now. Regardless if he has the big gold belt or not, he's still carrying the WWE right now. And that's fine, because I'm very happy to see that Bryan Danielson is soon to be the WWE Champion, which is something that you set up in Promotion Wars and EWR, but you never thought would actually happen in real life. You always wanted it to, but you never thought it would, especially when Daniel Bryan makes his debut on NXT with The Miz, of all people, and I'm a Miz fan, of course you know this, but the internet doesn't really like Mike Mizanin very much. And they he makes his debut with The Miz as his pro. And now he's the #1 babyface in the company. He is going to tap John Cena out at SummerSlam and win the WWE Championship. And that's how it should be. So he says he's going to be the WWE Champion. He rips off the monkey suit, of course, and reveals his brand new t-shirt, which you can, of course, buy on WWEshop.com. Which is a plain white t-shirt, kind of like John Cena's lame The Champ is Here shirt, pointing downwards, and of course pointing to the WWE Championship that's emblazoned on it. Bryan's shirt is pointing upwards, and it basically says the beard is here, and on the back it says yes equals yes, yes plus yes equals yes, and of course Cena's shirt says letter R time is now. This is, yeah, it's lame. So he goes, because John Cena likes to say the champ is here, let me just say the beard is here. And that's our first segment on Raw for last night. Oh, goodness, sorry. I had like an eyelash there. I'd make a wish, but it probably wouldn't come true at this point. And let's see if it did. Nope, didn't come true. So, first wrestling match of the evening, World Heavyweight Champion Alberto Del Rio, further proving that the World Heavyweight Championship is a glorified Intercontinental title right now. Which, I don't know what that says for the never defended Intercontinental Champion, Curtis Axel. I guess you would make the Intercontinental Championship a television title right now. Yeah, I got to defend it about as much as the TNA television title did. I'm not trying to bash TNA, obviously you know that, but let's call a spade a spade. So, Alberto Del Rio taking on Mr. Monday Night Rob Van Dam. So, we got midway through the match. Van Dam with a clothesline. And then another clothesline. And then a standing side kick on Del Rio. Goes for Rolling Thunder, Del Rio out of the way. And nails Van Dam with the GSK. 1-2 and a kick out. So he misses the step-up enziguri in the corner. And Van Dam catches him off the top rope with a side kick. And Rolling Thunder connects this time. 1-2, Del Rio kicks out. So he goes up top, going for the split-legged moonsault, and he gets the knees up, does Del Rio. He gets sent. Okay, Ricardo Rodriguez makes his return to the ring in this match. He has been gone from a brutal attack from Dolph Ziggler, i.e. his wellness policy suspension. And he comes back, and of course he has his trademark bucket with the Mexican flag on it, and he sets it up in the corner, and basically Del Rio ends up getting sent into it later on in the match. Van Dam rolls him up in a modified body scissors, pinning his shoulders to the canvas. 1, 2, 3. Ricardo gets in the ring, and this was an interesting segment. Ricardo got in the ring, and it was kind of like, I'm sorry for doing this. And Del Rio's like, oh, that's okay. And then, bam, GSK knocks out Ricardo. He picks up the bucket, the aluminum bucket that Ricardo carries out, and he wears him out with it to the point that the thing is dented beyond recognition. So he tosses him to the floor, and which is an amazing bump from Ricardo, by the way. Tremendous flip bump, takes through the middle rope. He doesn't even grab the rope, so it was awesome. So this looked vicious, by the way. He sets his head up in between the ring post and the steel steps, and he gets a running start. And he charges in, and he front drop kicks the steps, sending the steps into the head of Ricardo Rodriguez. This looked vicious, by the way. And Ricardo's down and out. Del Rio raises the World Heavyweight title in the air, and that's the end of the segment. Okay. One of three things happen. One, you have to get Ricardo away from Del Rio because Ricardo is more of a babyface gimmick. Even though Ricardo was being a heel when Del Rio first turned on Dolph Ziggler at Payback, it doesn't matter. It just seemed like it was kind of forced. Ricardo is more of a friend to the fans than a foe. So his heel turn with Del Rio was more foe than friend. Needless to say, I think this is a way to turn Ricardo face and finally get Ricardo wrestling in the WWE. That's one way to look at it. Two, some said that Ricardo just got future endeavored, and that was the way to write him off television. That's certainly a possibility. Three, Christian's winning the World Heavyweight title at SummerSlam, and Ricardo's going to be the reason why. You've got 2 weeks for Ricardo to get better. Enough to cost Del Rio the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam. Because obviously we roll into Christian and Damian Sandow, or there's so many ways to go. Or because obviously you have Sandow and Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But what I'm looking at right there is one of three things. Like I said, you have to get Ricardo, the face, away from Del Rio, the heel. That's the first thing. Two, Ricardo just got future endeavored, so that was writing him off television. Or three, this was basically to give him the added force to cost Del Rio the World Heavyweight Championship against Christian at SummerSlam, or maybe against Cody Rhodes on Raw, potentially. And then in that case, you'd have Ricardo feuding with Del Rio over the fall. So I don't have a problem with that. I mean, you could definitely do that without question. So, I mean, it's multiple ways to look at it, but I mean, that's just what I see. Speaking of Cody Rhodes, I mentioned that a little sooner than I thought it would be. Cody Rhodes shows up in the ring with his Clark Gable mustache. He says he has a gift for Damien Sandow, and he has this box in the ring. And I'm thinking to myself, it's probably the briefcase. So, what it is, he pulls it out, and it's the Money in the Bank briefcase. And to say it's seen better days has quite an understatement. Okay, do you remember when The Miz had the Money in the Bank briefcase, and he used it to basically dent people's heads in, and it was all beat up to hell by the time that he actually cashed in the championship opportunity? Yeah, this is child's play compared to that. I mean, this thing might as well have been sprouting roses. I mean, sprouting leaves. Because it was dirty, it was wet, it was filled with all sorts of randomness from the Gulf of Mexico, or at least what we're looking at. And we find out later that the contract for the World Heavyweight Championship shot that Damien Sandow stole from Cody Rhodes at Money in the Bank is kind of reduced to a little wadded up piece of paper, kind of like these notes after I'm done with them on Raw recaps. Or SmackDown and NXT recaps, or Impact recaps, or pay-per-view recaps, depending on how you look at it. So, he basically says, here's the case, come and get it. So Sandow comes out and says, you know what, put the case down and leave. So Cody does this. Sandow slides in the ring to grab the case. Cody slides back in the ring, and they start fighting, and they start brawling and everything. And basically, Cody gets the upper hand, sending Sandow to the floor to powder. And when he powders, Cody opens the Money in the Bank briefcase, which is the first time we've ever seen the actual case opened. So the contents of the case made sense, because there were like seaweed and like leaves and like water and all sorts of, not really water, but I mean dust, just various things that you would find in a body of water, because obviously we're selling the fact that it was floating in the Gulf of Mexico, because it was floating in the Gulf of Mexico. That's exactly what they did last week on SmackDown. So, you take that, he pulls it out, he pulls out the wadded up contract, takes it for himself, and he launches the briefcase at Sandow. So Sandow is the Money in the Bank holder with no Money in the Bank contract in his briefcase. So it's officially announced after this that we are getting the match that I've been saying was going to happen for a while now. Cody Rhodes against Damien Sandow at SummerSlam. Now, we're 2 weeks away from SummerSlam. So we have 2 weeks away, I would say, SmackDowns to be able to make this. I mean, this week's SmackDown probably will make it. I would say that Sandow, I said in the videos that Sandow was going to get cocky, and he was going to challenge Cody Rhodes with the contract on the line because he's so confident he can beat his former Rhodes Scholars partner. But the direction we're going with this is Cody took the contract, and now Sandow wants it back. So in order for Sandow to get the contract back, he's got to put it up against Cody at SummerSlam, winner take all. That's where I think they're going, and I think they'll make that announcement on SmackDown on Friday night, if they don't do it a little bit after that. Either way, I said the briefcase would be on the line at SummerSlam. It's going to be. So we get our next match of the evening. It's a WrestleMania rematch between the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, now a very early stages of a babyface run, taking on the absolute douche-tastic Ryback, who, I'll tell you right now, I used to hate the robotic feed me more, all that garbage and the finish it and wake up and all that crap he used to do all the time. But when he started becoming like a real smarmy heel, like he's like a bully, and I like this Ryback. He comes out all cocky and everything, and he basically just like, I'm gonna ruin your day. And that's exactly what he's gonna do. So I like this character. It's not going anywhere. He's not winning anything. He's not going anywhere storyline-wise. He's just kind of fodder right now, which is a shame because they really built him up for the beginning. And like I said, I was not a Ryback fan starting out, and he took a long time to grow on me. But I'm not a fan. I just kind of like what they're doing with him, but I wish they do something more with him because right now, Ryback's image is pretty tarnished, to say the least. I would say you had him as a diamond in the rough, kind of like, forget about the Goldberg chance, everything he still gets. He was a diamond in the rough. He's kind of like a rock now. Like, it's basically just from a diamond to a rock. Like a pebble at this point. He has no push. He's going absolutely nowhere. They need to do something with him or do nothing at all. I mean, he's a company guy, so they're not going to release him or anything, but they need to do something with him. You can't turn him face again. He's a heel now, and he's going to stay that way until the duration of the company. But what you could do is you could have him get hurt, take some time off television, hurt as in, obviously, storyline hurt, and when he takes his storyline injury, he takes time off television, and you could bring him back as a babyface if you really want to do that. But he's too tarnished at this point. You really can't do anything with Ryback. He's pretty much done. I didn't get a chance to write anything on this match either because it went home too early. They brawled a bit. Mark Henry ends up winning by countout when Ryback powders to the outside. Okay. So, again, I didn't write anything about this next segment either. It's, the Bellas are backstage, and Eva Marie comes in and asks if they want to borrow some hairspray, and then they all talk about how fun it was to make fun of Natty last week on Raw. And then Natty comes in and basically says that was like a slap in the face. And she's like, no, this is. And she slaps Brie in the face. Which, if you watch Total Divas like I do, sorry, it's entertaining. What can I say? But if you watch Total Divas like I do, and like a lot of you do, or some of you do, at least, I would say. Some of you have to be watching it, obviously, because it's got ratings. And people that would watch this, obviously, should be watching it. Brie is obviously the more sympathetic of the Bellas. And you still have her come off catty against Natty. I'm not meaning to have that rhyme. And I'll go with what was said this week. I believe it was on the O Show. Yeah, it was the O Show, actually. If this leads to a renewed push for TJ when he comes back to WWE from his injury, then I'm all for it. I want to see Tyson Kidd back in the ring, and I cannot wait till it happens. And I think he's going to get a nice push out of this. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that the Natty and TJ nuptials were part of Total Divas. It might be like the end of the season, something like that. So this is definitely talked about, and I think this is going to get Tyson Kidd a push in WWE. And I'm happy if that's the case, because Tyson's a great talent, and I really wish they'd do more with him. Kind of like they did stuff with Davey Boy Smith Jr., and they kind of let him go to waste, and now he's made a name for himself in Japan, and he's good to go. So D.H. Smith, or Harry Smith, or now Davey Boy Smith Jr., just amazing talent as well. So they really blew the gimmick of the Hart Dynasty completely. So I'll just say that right now. So John Cena comes out, and he gets booed out of the building, so we might as well not even turn him heel, because he's already heel. He does cut a heel promo, and it was entertaining, actually. He basically says that there's a lot of truths in what Daniel Bryan said tonight, but there's a lot of inaccuracies as well. Like, for example, if John Cena was fired tomorrow, which will never happen. If John Cena was fired tomorrow, basically what would happen is he would never wrestle another day again in his life. And that's what Bryan said in his promo in the beginning of the show. Why? Because the WWE is the top and he wouldn't go anywhere else. And he basically said that Bryan would go somewhere else and he would continue to wrestle, and then John Cena's like, don't worry about your past, and basically he just completely just says, screw the independence is pretty much what he's saying at this point. And he says, don't glorify your past, look right in front of you. The WWE is now, and the WWE is the gold standard. Don't need to worry about your past. Fans want to see me and Daniel Bryan fight right now. They're chanting boring at this point, by the way. He goes, our time is now, the champ is here. So Randy Orton comes out to ruin the party. And he has the Money in the Bank contract in his briefcase. Of course, his briefcase is like pristine compared to Sandow's. He says, the contract guarantees I become the WWE champion. My point is, the champ is in here, as in the briefcase. So the Shield comes out, and they surround the ring, and they're about to get in the ring when Daniel Bryan comes out to even the odds. So Raw General Manager Brad Maddox comes out and says, hold on. No slow your roll player, because that's a Teddy Long gimmick. He says, you guys seem to have your differences. How about we settle it in our main event tonight? We have ourselves a 6-man tag. Everyone agrees, and that's our main event. So here's this next segment is really interesting. We get a rematch of Tons of Funk against Eric Rowan and Luke Harper of the Wyatt family. Of course, Bray Wyatt at ringside, sitting in his trademark rocking chair. And this isn't really much of a match. It's just kind of a couple spots here and there. Brodus ends up hitting the Sheeplex on Luke Harper. And then Tensai gets clotheslined in the corner. And then the big lariat from Luke Harper and the huge splash from Rowan. 1, 2, 3. So they double team Brodus this time, so he obviously is not getting off scot-free like he did last time. They squashed Tensai and they pretty much just left Brodus on the floor. This time Brodus got some too. So Brodus got picked up. Bray gets in the ring. Bray, of course, delivers the kiss of death and Sister Abigail on Brodus Clay, leaving him out for dead. They drag him to the center of the ring. And he basically is talking about Kane. He's like, Kane's a devil's favorite demon. He's just an illusion. A fairy tale. The demon is a lie, man. I'm much, much different. I'm the man of 1,000 truths. I'm Bray Wyatt, the eater of worlds. Kane, follow the buzzards. And of course you get that really awesome camera swipe of Rowan's head tilted to the side and the sheep mask. And that fades into the pyro of Kane, and then you have Kane on the Titantron. He says, when you tear the wings off of buzzards, they're impossible to follow. You're here to maim and disfigure and mutilate everyone in your path. Just like Heath Ledger, he likes that. I do those things for my personal amusement. You do those to spread the word. No one does the devil's work better than I do. Your family are not going to be able to save you. No one is going to be able to save you. From inside the ring of fire. At SummerSlam, we are going to get a ring of fire. No, there's not going to be some Johnny Cash tribute band. Oh no. We are going to get, presumably, an Inferno match between Bray Wyatt and Kane at SummerSlam. I have absolutely no problems with this. I think this is a great way to do things. And what you do in this case is you use this to build the relationship between Kane and the Wyatt family. This is where the brainwashing starts, folks. It's already sort of like in its infancy. And it's building throughout the weeks. And Bray is slowly but surely pulling the Raven effect on Kane. And eventually, Kane is just going to have to drink the Kool-Aid, man. Sorry. Anyway, so that's what we're going to lead to. And, of course, Wyatt's going to win, obviously. Now, there's some people talking about The Undertaker being involved in this and everything and helping his brother win. Can't do that. Taker's not going to be involved with SummerSlam or anything for the remainder of the year. You probably won't see Undertaker until at least the Royal Rumble, if not after that, like the Raw after the Royal Rumble, when we crown the winner of the Rumble. I think that, like I said before, this is what we're leading to, folks. We're leading to Kane joining the Wyatt family. The brainwashed Kane, the brainwashed monster with the puppet strings being pulled by the Eater of Worlds. That's exactly what we're building towards. So what happens to this? Well, The Undertaker is not going to take kindly to this. Oh no, not at all. And this would end with The Undertaker systematically taking apart each member of the Wyatt family to get to Bray Wyatt. So Undertaker will go after Harper, and then he'll go after... I say he goes after Rowan first. After Rowan, then he'll go after Harper. Those matches are going to be awesome, by the way. And eventually, Undertaker is going to be forced to fight his brother. He's going to be forced to fight Kane with Bray Wyatt in his ear. And then The Undertaker faces Bray Wyatt. This will happen. I don't know when it will happen, but this will happen. This harkens back to the Undertaker-Mankind feuds. That was a great way to utilize the fact that the Undertaker can have mind games played against him, which was unheard of back in those days. But Foley played the mind games, and he won. Obviously, he beat the Undertaker. He left the Undertaker laying. There's not many people who have done that. Fast forward to now, I mean, the Shield left the Undertaker laying. So, I mean, obviously the Undertaker has some unfinished business with the Shield down the road. I think that Kane is slowly being brainwashed, and he will follow the buzzards. He will join the Wyatt family, and it will happen very soon. But not before he gets a little tough love, courtesy of the Eater of Worlds. Now, next match of the evening was a Divas match. Oh, this match sucked. I'm sorry. I am not the guy that puts down the Divas division. Okay. I'm not the guy that puts down the Divas division. They're trying. They're not giving them enough time. I get that. But this match was not good. Not good at all. It was short, which was good. But it wasn't the greatest match either. So, it was Kaitlyn taking on Layla, and this is Layla's return match. And of course, she's pulling out the Flawless, and she's wearing the old Lay Cool gimmicks and everything. So she's back to doing that. It would have made sense if Layla would have teamed up with Summer Rae, and if Summer Rae wasn't with Fandango, that probably would have happened. Given the fact that Summer Rae is probably the closest thing you would get to Michelle McCool in the WWE now. Anyway, so we go midway through the match. Layla kicks Kaitlyn in the knee, DDTs her 1-2 and a kick out. So she catches her off the ropes, and a side backbreaker, clothesline, and a rebound shoulder block off the ropes by Kaitlyn. Kaitlyn goes for the Fireman's Gutbuster, and AJ's music hits. She skips around the ring. AJ gets on the apron for the distraction, turns around into the bombshell, which is Punk's high kick, and gets the pin. Then Kaitlyn lays on the canvas as Layla and AJ skip away. Yeah. Storyline, let's continue. Next match, between the #1 contender to the World Heavyweight Championship, barely with an introduction, Christian, taking on the leader of the three-man band, Heath Slater. Midway through the match, Heath locks on her chin lock. Christian elbows out of it. Heath chokes him on the bottom rope. Cheap shot from Jinder. Cheap shot from Drew McIntyre on the floor. Goes on the middle rope to go for a dive off, and Christian puts the boot up. Charges in. He catches the boot to the face. Charges in. Christian catches him with a flapjack. Missile drop kick off the middle turnbuckle, and suplex to the floor is blocked. Blocked is reversed, and excuse me. Back kick, 180 sunset flip, and he kicks out. Slater showboats a little too long, plays a little air guitar, turns around, spear out of nowhere, 1, 2, 3. So you probably look for Christian against Drew McIntyre on SmackDown this week. Or Christian against Jinder Mahal this week on SmackDown. Something like that. I think Christian's going to fight the three-man band gauntlet before the week's over. Maybe one of the matches will be a main event. Who knows? Probably not. He's the #1 contender to the World Heavyweight Championship, and they're treating him like this. Yeah. How far these championships have fallen in such a small time, folks. Get our next match of the evening, CM Punk taking on the Intercontinental Champion that never defends his championship, Curtis Axel. So, Punk gets tossed in. Actually, no. You get midway through the match, Punk hits the tope, sending Axel into the barricade. Tosses Axel in and nails him with a slingshot senton, Eddie Guerrero style. Whips in, puts on the brakes, and ducks the clothesline. And of course, if you've not seen an Axel match before, you know if you duck Axel's clothesline, he's going to come back with the other arm and club you in the back of the neck. And that's exactly what he does to Punk. Axel with a high velocity whip sends Punk hard into the buckle. Punk comes off the ropes, and Axel catches him with a picture-perfect standing dropkick, 1-2, and a kick out. So we get back to live action. The arm bar is clamped on by Curtis Axel with the point of the elbow against the side of the face. And basically, Punk comes to fight out of it with a headbutt. So he, excuse me. Punk gets run over with a huge elbow by Axel. 1-2 and a kick out. Scoop slam. Goes to the second turnbuckle on the inside. Drops the Bret Hart elbow. And he gets a 1 count out of it. So yeah. Chin lock. Paul Heyman comes out, of course, because Axel's on top and Punk's in dire straits at this point. So obviously it's safe for Heyman to come out. Which, by the way, I didn't talk about it, but at the beginning of the match, before it even starts, Punk meets him in the aisleway. And basically, Heyman goes running off to the back, and we don't see him until this point in the match. Punk counters it with a backdrop suplex, crawls over to Heyman, and grabs him, and Axel catches him with a snap clothesline, 1-2, and a kick out. So he whips him in, he caught a boot, and springboard into a 180 crossbody. Punk goes out of the ring. Axel cuts him off with a clothesline, tosses him back in, 1-2, and a kick out. So he does that elbow face wash while he's on the canvas, which is basically taking the point of the elbow and like raking it across the face. Kind of like a downward elbow, basically, is what it is. Goes to the middle rope elbow again. This time, Punk's out of the way. Axel charges with a big splash in the corner and he misses. Back elbow, big clothesline, and a swing neck breaker from Punk. Punk goes for the charging knee in the corner and he nails it. Short arm clothesline. He goes up top, presumably for the Savage elbow. Axel gets up and crotches him up top. Punk falls off the top turnbuckle, lands on the canvas. So he comes up to his feet and Axel catches him off the ropes with the axe to grind. 1-2 and a kick out. So high kick on Curtis Axel. Punk grabs Heyman. And the bell sounds, apparently, that there's sort of no contest, DQ, something like that. Can't really tell. Brock Lesnar comes out. Okay, hear his music first. So Axel pulls Punk out of the ring, and Punk picks him up, go to sleep on Curtis Axel, lays him out. So they trade blows, does Punk and Brock Lesnar. And he goes for the F5. He gets countered, and he sends Lesnar to the post. So high kicks and forearms, and he goes to the... This is brutal, by the way, and you really don't pay attention unless you're really paying attention. Punk gets up on the gets up on the announce table at ringside, and he dives off at Lesnar, presumably for the double axe handle or a clothesline. I think it's probably a clothesline. Lesnar's a little too close, so he goes for the clothesline, and when Punk goes for the clothesline, he basically connects his chin into the head of Brock Lesnar, thus busting his chin open. And actually, for a split second, you can actually hear Punk say something to the gist of "I'm bleeding" or something like that. That's what I heard, but I don't know exactly what the context of it was. I didn't really realize it was until I watched the replay, and I know exactly that's how it happened. So Punk gets caught with an overhead belly-to-belly suplex on the floor. Heyman gets in the ring to watch the dismantling of his former best friend. F5 once again countered. Punk has a steel chair, and he nails Lesnar in the back. He swings the chair at Heyman, and when he lifts it up, Lesnar takes it away, and he nails Punk with an F5. So Punk is down and out. Heyman goes, "Brock hurt him." So Lesnar picks up the chairs and starts wearing out the back of CM Punk with the chairs, and that's the end of the segment. So we get a segment in the back with Renee Young, who is with the Paul Heyman guys. Paul Heyman with Curtis Axel and Brock Lesnar. Lesnar says something really stupid and literally says to Paul, "Hey, Paul, say something stupid. You don't need a mouthpiece." There, I said something stupid. So Heyman basically uses the microphone to challenge CM Punk to a fight next week on Raw. And of course, Punk accepts this fight, and we're going to get CM Punk against Paul Heyman. But something's rotten in the state of Denmark here, because that seems like Punk is walking into a trap. Like, this is the This is pretty much seeing the big, nice jewel that's up at the top of the steps, and it may or may not be cursed, or there may be a temple guard telling you not to touch it, because you may just pay with your life. But like the Great Movie Ride, when that does happen, bad things do happen when you touch the wrong thing. And when CM Punk gets in the ring with Paul Heyman on Raw next week, something tells me that he's not going to be alone. Who knows, maybe we'll see a new Paul Heyman guy on Monday. It's possible. Get our next match of the evening, Fandango, who got an awesome pop with the stunning Summer Rae. And he comes out. He was actually really good on Total Divas this week, to be totally honest. Summer Rae comes out dancing as she always does. And his opponent is the returning Kofi Kingston, who somehow got long trunks. Who knew? And Kofi's used to wearing the short, like the bikers, and now he's wearing like trunks now. He's like long trunks, like pants. Actually, it's pretty cool. So, it's funny, there was actually someone on Twitter that said that Kofi's gear grew legs. So, yeah, that's pretty funny. So, this is Kofi's return. He's still doing the same old stuff. He still looks the same. I'm guessing the definition of his legs are gone. That's the reason why he's wearing long tights, but who knows. It might just be his new gear. Who knows. Whip in, and Kofi gets nailed with a back elbow, 1-2, and a kick out. I like this move, by the way. So, he locks in a wrist lock, that's Fandango. He whips Kofi in, and he takes him down with the wrist lock. Drops a knee drop, 1-2, and a kick out. So he goes for the chin lock. Kofi punches out of it. And he gets nailed off the ropes by a spinning heel kick from Fandango, 1-2, and a kick out. Goes off the middle rope with a knee drop, and he misses. Kofi's out of the way. And, of course, springboard and clothesline. And then 2 double chops, standing drop kick, leaping clothesline, and then the boom drop. I need to figure out a vintage term for that one. He's readies up for Trouble in Paradise. Fandango knows every single Kofi match like we all do, just like I know over a Randy Orton match like we all do. He ducks out to the ring apron, it breaks the momentum, and Fandango leaps up and kicks him in the side of the head like he always does. Puts his feet on the ropes, 1-2, and a kick out. So he goes up top, leapfrogs over, springboard into the flying body press, 1-2, and a kick out from Kofi. Now he ducks Trouble in Paradise. It gets countered. He looks like he's going for a suplex or some sort of a maneuver to try to finish off Kofi. It gets countered again. He spins around. Trouble in Paradise. 1-2-3. So Kofi wins his return match. And Fandango looks damn good like he has in the last several weeks. In-ring competition. No matter what Will thinks, he's not just a bad gimmick, which I don't believe. I love the Fandango gimmick. I think, like I said, he can go. He's great in the ring. And he's finally showing that. So I'm happy to see that. Our next match of the evening, it's going to be the Real Americans, Antonio Cesaro and Jack Swagger, with Zeb Coulter in their corner, taking on Jimmy and Jey Uso. And this is a tag team match. So we get midway through the match. Cesaro with a deadlift side salto on Jimmy Uso, tagging to Jack Swagger. Swagger with a big takedown, thus stopping Jimmy making the tag to Jey. Swagger bomb and blind tag from Cesaro. Cesaro with a double boot stomp, 1-2, and a kick out. It's tagged back into Swagger. I like this double team, by the way. Inverted atomic drop. And it is countered. Actually, it's an atomic drop. And when he lands him on the knee, Swagger nails him with a diving clip to the knee, 1-2, and a kick out. So, step up Enziguri on Swagger. Tagging to Cesaro, tagging to Jey Uso. And he nails a flying forearm. And Jack sidekick, on Swagger, and he sidekicks Cesaro. He does the Rikishi-style running butt bump in the corner, 1-2, and Cesaro is saved by Swagger. So Jack's backdropped over the top rope to the floor, so he's down and out. And basically, Jimmy Uso dives over the top rope onto Jack Swagger, and middle rope, and he gets caught with a savate kick, does Cesaro, 1-2, and a kick out. Jack sends Jimmy into the ring post, and Jay is in the ring, and he's on the rope, and the referee's distracted, and Swagger throws the weakest right hand I've ever seen in my life, which barely connects. And that's just enough for Swagger to turn Cesaro into Cesaro's Gotch-style neutralizer. 1, 2, 3, and the Real Americans win. Okay. Or Zeb's Militia, as I like to call them. So, what does this do? I like seeing Cesaro on my television. I'm always happy about that. And I think that they were really pushing the Usos. Is the push over? Nah, I doubt it. I think the Real Americans just needed to get some heat in the feud. So we can have a rematch down the road. I think that's probably going to end up happening. Maybe the Usos and the Real Americans at a #1 contenders match, and the winners will face off with the Shield at SummerSlam, possibly. We don't have the tag team titles defended on SummerSlam yet, so get on that, WWE, get on that. So, we get our next match of the evening, which we thought was going to be on the SummerSlam card as a singles match, but apparently it looks like it's not going to happen, but I could be wrong. It might just be setting it up. The show-off, Dolph Ziggler taking on Big E Langston with the cute and crazy AJ Lee, the Divas champion, of course, in his corner. So, Langston applies the abdominal stretch. Dolph breaks it in a very unique way with a Jeff Hardy-style sit-out jawbreaker. So, Big E charges in, and Ziggler out of the way. He goes shoulder first on the ring post, and catches him with a neck breaker off the ropes, 1, 2, and a kick out. So he goes for the name dropper. It gets countered. This is awesome, by the way. He picks him up in a Canadian backbreaker. And instead of just dropping him, he does a Canadian backbreaker into his knee, like a Canadian backbreaker into a regular backbreaker. It looked nice. 1, 2, actually didn't get a pinfall out of this. He goes for the big splash. It misses, and basically Dolph catches him with a name dropper off the ropes, 1, 2, and a kick out. Big E rolls to the floor, and Caitlyn comes out, and AJ gives the running hug, and they start brawling. They fight. AJ gets in the ring, and Caitlyn comes in to stop her. Caitlyn is there for a distraction long enough for Big E to nail Dolph with a huge clothesline. Drops the straps. Big ending. 1, 2, 3. So this shows us we're building towards Dolph and Caitlyn against Big E and AJ at SummerSlam. And I'm pretty sure that's exactly what's going to happen. And maybe some sort of a stipulation that if AJ loses, then Caitlyn's the new Divas champion, or Caitlyn gets a title shot on Raw the next night. Something like that. I know we're at least getting that mixed tag at SummerSlam. I don't have a problem with that. But right now, with everything's going the way it is, Sandow's got Money in the Bank, and of course has to contend with Cody Rhodes. And then Alberto Del Rio's got to contend with Christian, and of course you got Rob Van Dam on the outside looking in. You don't know what to do with Dolph Ziggler at this point. He's kind of a man without a country at this point. He's a face finally. I mean, he's hashtag face Ziggler. But still, I mean, you're not doing anything with him. So hopefully this will lead to another renewed push for Ziggler somewhere down the road. Not going to be anytime soon, though. Main event of the evening, The Shield taking on John Cena, Daniel Bryan, and Randy Orton in a 6-man tag. This match went to the ring with 2 minutes to spare before 11. So, needless to say, there was a really good possibility that, yeah, this match wasn't going to go very long. But it kind of did. It actually went to almost 10 after the hour, but we're going to talk about this. So, Orton with the 10 punch on Seth Rollins, charging clothesline, and the snap suplex out of the corner for a 1 count. Tagging to Daniel Bryan. Bryan goes up top, nails the missile dropkick on Rollins, and tagging to Dean Ambrose, reverses the whip, backflip, ducks the clothesline. Bryan comes off the ropes, hooking clothesline. We've seen this so many times. And the tope on Dean Ambrose on the floor. So Bryan sends Rollins into the post when he tries to interfere. And Ambrose pulls Bryan off the apron and he's going for the running knee strike on presumably Rollins. And Ambrose, of course, stops that right there. Rams him into the apron back first. Toss him back in. Tagging to Roman Reigns. They wishbone Daniel Bryan. Cover 1, 2, and a kick out. So he drives the elbows in, 1, 2, and a kick out. Big, huge clothesline on Daniel Bryan. Again, 1, 2, and a kick out. So he tossed him back in. Wow. Tagging to Seth Rollins. Rollins with a senton. 1, 2, and a kick out. So he locks in a chin lock. Bryan elbows out of it. Tagging to Roman Reigns. And they pick him up. Double lift into a gutbuster from Seth Rollins for a 2 count. And it's kind of like an inverted lung blower, basically, is what it was. from Roman Reigns, who tried to steal the pin right there. So a high kick on Reigns and tagging to Rollins. And he cuts Bryan off before he can make the tag. And Cena gets tagged behind the referee's back, so they don't call for it. They don't let it stick. Bryan gets sent into Randy Orton. Orton gets knocked off the apron. Rollins rolls him up 1-2, and no, he kicks out. Bryan turns into the yes lock, and there's a bell sound. Apparently the Shield were disqualified. Bryan backdrops Ambrose over the top to the floor. Orton comes in. RKO. And, hold on John Cena. He goes out of the ring to grab the briefcase and a referee to cash in Money in the Bank. And, of course, it's just a temporary thing because the Shield come in and stop him. So Roman ends up spearing John Cena. Ambrose starts beating down Daniel Bryan. Randy Orton leaves with the case and stands at the ramp while Daniel Bryan gets triple powerbombed. And that's the end of the show. So, a little longer than I thought we were going to go tonight, folks. I guess it's probably because I talked so long in the, earlier on, the, housekeeping. What we learned today, boys and girls? Well, the corporate Daniel Bryan, a figment of the WWE brass imagination. Daniel Bryan is Daniel Bryan, that's all he's ever going to be. Beard and all. So, Rob Van Dam gets a win by disqualification, actually pins the World Heavyweight Champion, Alberto Del Rio. So obviously he has a reason to want a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. Are we getting a three-way at SummerSlam? I guess we'll find out probably in the next few weeks if we don't find out on SmackDown this week. Van Dam's got a legitimate reason why he believes he should be champion. He's pinned the World Heavyweight Champion, so who knows? Maybe we'll get a three-way at SummerSlam with Del Rio against Van Dam and Christian both. But I think it's going to be a singles match. And after that brutal attack from Ricardo, if Ricardo is not future endeavored, I honestly think that Christian is going to win the World Heavyweight Championship because of a Ricardo interference, which is going to lead to Ricardo and Del Rio to fight in the fall, lead us to Survivor Series. And again, that's a good thing. I think that's a great idea, actually. Cody and Sandow, they're leading towards face each other at SummerSlam again. I'm sure the briefcase could be on the line. They'll probably make that announcement on SmackDown this week. Mark Henry beats Ryback via countout. Ryback's going nowhere fast. Mark Henry's really kind of not doing anything since his huge promo. They turned him face for some reason. So hopefully we'll do something with that. Apparently we're going to get Natty and Bree on SmackDown, if I had to guess. I don't know for a fact. Of course, this is all setting up the Total Divas show, which watch at 10 o'clock on E! Network. John Cena comes out, basically says Daniel Bryan is too comfortable in the independents, and he'd be comfortable there. John Cena is WWE for life, and it doesn't matter if he was fired tomorrow, he'd never wrestle again, because WWE is the gold standard, and anything else is nickel plating, so whatever. So, basically, Randy Orton comes out, guarantees he's going to win the WWE Championship, and the Shield come out to guarantee that we're not going to get us into the segment without some sort of a brawl, and sure enough, they surround the ring. Daniel Bryan comes out to even the odds. Brad Maddox comes out and says, you know what, let's have a six-man. So that's exactly what they do. So Eric Rowan and Luke Harper again beat Tons of Funk. This time they lay waste to Brodus Clay. Kane ends up getting challenged to once again follow the buzzards, man. And Kane responds this time with a challenge to a Ring of Fire at SummerSlam, which presumably is going to be an Inferno match between Bray Wyatt and Kane at SummerSlam. If it's not called the Ring of Fire, I think it might be called the Ring of Fire, but it's still going to be an Inferno match of some sort. Layla beats Caitlyn with the help of AJ Lee, so of course that weird alliance continues. Christian beats Heath Slater, and just, it's fine. Doesn't even get an introduction, really. Barely gets an introduction, so yeah. That sucks for somebody who is the World Heavyweight Championship #1 contender at this point. CM Punk and Curtis Axel, they pretty much went to a no contest. Brock Lesnar comes out. This was all to further Brock and Punk. Brock ends up hurting Punk inadvertently when Punk dies off the table and he cracks his chin on the skull of Brock Lesnar. Fandango faces Kofi Kingston in Kofi's return match, and that was fine. Good match for what it was. Fandango showing us even more every week, and furthermore proving my point that Fandango will be a singles champion before 2013 is over. It doesn't matter how long he's going to be champion, he will be singles champion of some sort before the year is over. Real Americans beat the Usos, so of course the Usos can't win every day, so you have to build that up so you can actually do something Real Americans down the road, because obviously Swagger and Cesaro are not really doing anything as a tag team right now since they got put together, but Cesaro is doing wonders in NXT right now with Leo Kruger, so if you haven't watched NXT, check that out. You can actually read my, listen to my long day. You can go back and watch the videos in my SmackDown and NXT playlist here on Pop, and you can check out last week's NXT that I talk about before I talk about last week's SmackDown. So, excuse me. So, we get Biggie Langston not cleanly really, Biggie Langston beats Dolph Ziggler with help of a distraction from Caitlyn accidentally. So I think we're going to get Dolph and Caitlyn against AJ and Biggie at SummerSlam with some sort of stipulation on the line. Pretty sure that's what's going to happen. Shield in the main event against Cena, Bryan, and Orton. Bryan ends up taking the triple power bomb. Cena gets RKO'd and looks like he's going to get cashed in on by the Viper, but no, the Shield stop it. And that, of course, leads to Bryan getting triple power bombed, and Orton just stands there and like, I don't care about you. You accidentally knocked me off the apron, but it wasn't an accident, was it, Bryan? I should kick you in the skull. But he never does, and that's the end of the show. And of course, we went to some sort of a John Cena dark match after the show was over. It most likely involved The Shield and Daniel Bryan. Anyway, that was Raw for this week. So, if you like these videos, tell your friends about them. Do leave a comment. We don't get very many here on Pop, but we do appreciate each and every one of them. And if you want to subscribe, you can. Please do subscribe. Spread the word about the Popcaster Revolution. Retweet these videos. Share these videos on your social media. If you want to tweet me, you can. It's at SirOwenDisney. Or you can send me an email at SirOwenDisney@gmail.com. If you want to get stuff out to me, you can send me anything you want. Send me your reviews of some sort. We'll make you a Popcaster, give you your 15, and let you be seen by hundreds of thousands of people every single day. And... not day, hundreds of people every single day, there we go, and thousands of people every single year. That sounds horrible. We'll let you be seen by the YouTube public. Here are the people that are generous enough to watch Pop. So thank you guys out there for watching, and until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I gotta say about that.